Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, this is Coach Reggie Moore, and I got my brother from another mother, Mr. Coach Zach Williams, here in the online building. And excited today, feeling ecstatic because we got a good topic that is very interesting that we're going to discuss about, which is hearing loss, which is really, really cool there. But before we do that, we want to kind of ask our vets their branch of service, their years, MOS, and how long did they serve for. All right. So put that in the comments. Okay. Yes. Comments. So yeah, I'm gonna have my man Zach kind of give his intro here about himself and his story.
Thanks, Reggie. How's it going, everyone? I'm Zach. I'm a veteran coach here at VA Claims Insiders, and I am a veteran of the Marine Corps. I enlisted in '06 and went active duty between the years of 2008 and 2012. Had a pretty significant break in service, and then rejoined into the reserves in 2020. And I am currently still serving in that capacity. Living here in Austin, Texas. 3 kids, have a wife, and I am very excited to be here on this video with y'all.
That's amazing, brother. I appreciate your service and still being active duty right now.
Reserves. I am in the
Reserves.
reserve.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That is awesome, brother. Thank you. Me, of course, I'm a coach here at VA Claims Insider. Like I said, been here for a little while, and like I said, my goal is to be a servant to help our vets that's underrated and to help them to get what they legally, morally, and ethically that they deserve, rating wise. So we're here. I'm also prior military, of course, prior U.S. Navy. Had a pretty cool career. I launched and recovered the F-18 Super Hornets. Whoop whoop. Did that on the Truman. I was with VFA 32 out in the Oceana. And along with that, there, cross rated, became an OS. And also, along with that, I did a little bit of search and rescue and other little endeavors as well in the military for one enlistment. So it's a pretty cool career. And of course, now a coach, and I am a husband. I have a wife, and I have 2 kids, and foster dad, and I enjoy it each and every day. So that's my purpose. So yes, indeed. So we'll kind of go ahead and get right into it here. When it comes down to hearing loss, is one of those topics where first thing that comes up to people they say, hey, let's tinnitus. But with hearing, you got to talk about the hearing first before you jump into tinnitus, because that is the prefaces before you kind of jump into it. Because there are different rating breakdowns from that there. And then with the breakdowns itself, it's not off of one ear that you may have sustained hearing loss, but it's off of both ears that has the constitute for the hearing loss itself. Now, the thing about it is when it comes down to hearing, there's two types of tests. You have one is the speech, the discrimination test, where you're with the doctor or CMP examiner, and what they're going to do is ask you to repeat some words or a phrase or a sentence and see how well your hearing is, and you got to repeat it back to them verbatim to see if there's any broken words or anything that's missed in the speech discrimination test itself, which is the first one. The second one is the peer automutatory test, right? So if you guys remember going to boot camp, right, you had the little buttons, like the little clickers, when you're sitting in a little chamber room and you kind of got the little earphones like this is, but essentially it's where you are hearing high pitched frequencies and different sounds. And during those different sounds, they higher the sounds and less chances of you're not able to pick up those frequencies of sounds, there is a chance that you may have some hearing loss and your ears itself. So that's how they base off of that. Now, kind of give you a case in point story. I was talking with one of our vets and coaches the other day. He's actually rated for hearing loss, and he was telling about his story where he went to the actual testing of doing that pure auditometratory test, and he was not able to hear every single sound. He literally had to sit and go through all these tests, but literally he was saying that he could not hit the button in enough time because his hearing was pretty much messed up from his prior MOS and things of that nature there. We'll talk more about that later on, but when it comes down to these two types of tests, this is what they test you on. And again, it has to be in both ears, not just one ear, in order to be rateable. Along with that, I have my man Zach to kind of break down the ear conditions. I'll give you the layup, Zach.
Yeah, great. But a question on that real quick, Reggie, is if I understand this right and using my own experience as kind of a reference point. So when you enlist, you go to MEPS and they do all the physical stuff with you, and then they do your hearing test, which obviously is a part of it. And so when you go through that, that establishes like a baseline, right? Mm-hmm. And then you go through your service, and then near the end, if you are retiring or if you're just doing your 4 years and getting out, you'll do your exit physical, and then they'll give you another one, and then they should be able to see if there is a loss in hearing. Am I correct in that?
That is affirmative. You are right. With the mention, it's interesting you said that, Zach. I'll piggyback what you just said. I actually had a CMP exam due to, of course, which is part of hearing loss itself, but a little different was tinnitus. And I literally had my audiometry test that was done right when I entered in. And then when I went to that command itself, because of course I was going to an air base and I was launch recovering F-18. So with that there, when I did submit my claim, I was able to include that as evidence to show substantiation that I did suffer from those from hearing loss itself, but mainly for tinnitus because that was the claim that I went in for. But that is definitely true, absolutely. So
okay, great, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
All right, so for the conditions of the ear, I'm going to go through a couple codes that are very important in this aspect. All these codes, they can be found in the 38 CFR, the rating schedule that the VA uses for not just hearing loss, but for every other ailment that you could file for. Check out the 38 CFR, a lot of good information in there, and it shows you exactly what the VA is looking for in terms of a specific rating tier. So code 6100, that's 6100, hearing loss that is not caused by another condition is rated under this code. 6202, oh, this is a good word. Otosclerosis is an abnormal growth of bone in the middle of the ear. This condition is rated based on the hearing loss rating system. If the hearing is not impaired, it is not rateable. Loss of the auricle, code 6207, is rated at 50% if both of the ears are missing. If one is completely missing, then it is rated at a 30%. If neither are completely missing, but at least 1/3 is gone, then those would be rated at 10%. And also, if there's hearing loss involved in that as well, that will be rated separately under the aforementioned code 6100. 6211 is the tympanic membrane or the eardrum. If it is torn or if it has a hole in it and there are no other symptoms, it is rated at 0%. If there's hearing loss that also accompanies this, then those would fall under that same code 6100. And then we have everyone's favorite hearing loss ailment is code 6260, tinnitus. I am currently rated at 10% for this, and actually I can hear it going on a little bit right now. That's essentially the ringing in the ear that will come after exposure from from loud noises such as explosions. I was in artillery, so we are rated high on the MOS probability scale, something that I think Coach Reggie is going to go into here in a little bit. So moving on to code 6210, chronic otitis externa is the swelling of the outer ear. 6200, 6200, chronic, this is a good one, chronic suppurative otitis media is the swelling and bacterial infection of the middle ear with pus coming out of the ear because of a hole in the eardrum. So you can see how a lot of these have the tendency to be intertwined with each other. And then finally, 6201, chronic non-suppurative otitis media with effusion is a swelling and bacterial infection of the middle ear, but no pus is coming out because there is no hole in the eardrum. This condition is rated based on the hearing loss system. So those are a lot of the bigger codes that affect our veterans these days. So I'm going to hand it over to Coach Reggie, and he's going to go over balance disorders.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, right, if you have like some water or balancing somewhere on like a scale, if your hearing is off, it's your equilibrium is going to be off. So it leads into the balance disorders, you know, kind of like vertigo on the way, but of course different. So with it leads to these balance disorders. There's different codes. For instance, there's code 6204, which deals with peripheral vestibular disorders. It's a condition that affects the ears' ability to sense proper body balance, which includes symptoms of dizziness, sense of being an emotion, spinning, wooziness, or motion sickness. Kind of like I said, like vertigo, you know, you're wops to woozy all over the place, right? Or kind of like seasickness. You're not feeling good at all. So those are some symptoms itself when it comes down to this particular code here. Now, the interesting thing is that if there is dizziness that occasionally causes staggering when walking, it is rated at 30%. And if there's occasional dizziness, it is rated at 10%. So it depends on the chronicity of it and how often that you are feeling these dizziness type symptoms itself for the ratings. Next code I will touch bases into is code 6205, which is Meniere's syndrome. It's a disorder of the inner ear that affects both hearing and balance at the same time, because it's like a domino effect, right? If your hearing's messed up, at the same time your balance is gonna be messed up, right? They go hand in hand. Like I said, the body is all connected. It's all like one big circuit board, right? So it's going to be affected. Along with that, with this type of symptoms includes hearing loss, tinnitus, which is, oh my God, nerve wracking, because you have it and I have it as well. I was on the flight line. That's another MOS rating where we'll touch more into that later on, where, I mean, just high pitched noise, you know. But along with that, there includes dizziness and wooziness. This condition can be rated for one of two ways: once under this code, or three ratings: one under tinnitus, one under hearing loss, and one as a peripheral vestibular disorder can be combined. And they kind of just put them all together, right? So if you go on a CMP exam, most likely it's kind of like a 3-in-1 exam that they do this type of rating system for. Now, the interesting thing is that if there is a hearing impairment with episodes of dizziness and staggering while walking that occur more than once a week, whether or not it's tinnitus, it is rated 100%. I did not know that, you know. Definitely interesting. So you want to look at that into there. Another thing too is that if the hearing impairment with episodes of dizziness and staggering while walking that occurs 1 to 4 times a month, whether or not there is tinnitus, it's rated 60%, right? Because again, we talk about chronicity. How often does this occur, right? And those are things that you can kind of reflect upon in the 38 CFR. Another thing to add in that, if there is hearing impairment with episodes of dizziness less than once a month, whether or not there's tinnitus, it is rated at 30%. Again, the chronicity of it, right? And now I'm gonna turn over to my man here, Zach, for the next session here.
All right, thank you, Reggie.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Appreciate that. So, the next session, we're going to sort of discuss cancer and tumors of the ear. Now, we all know what cancers are. Generally, across the board, they're not very good. So, cancer is the growth of abnormal cells. All right, these cells, they can be okay to live with. In other words, they do not attack the good cells that are around them, or it could be a bad cancer, malignant, and if they are, then they will attack the cells that are around that area. So coming back at you with some more codes, code 6209, benign tumors affecting the ear are rated on how they affect the functioning of the ear. So if the condition interferes with hearing, then it would be rated under the hearing loss rating system. If it affects the ear's balance system, sort of how Reggie was talking about before, then it would be rated as a peripheral vestibular disorder, excuse me. And then code 6208, malignant tumors of the ear are rated under this code if they affect more than just the skin. If only the skin is involved, then it would be rated under code 7833, which is a different part of the rating schedule. So
Wow.
just some things for you to be aware of there. If the cancer is active, it is rated at 100%. This 100% rating will continue for the first 6 months following the completion of any treatment. The condition will then be reevaluated and rated based on any continuing symptoms, like hearing loss. So some pretty scary stuff, but the more you know, the more you can be ready and prepared to fight this thing if you start having these kinds of things happen to you. So earlier, the duty MOS noise exposure listing was mentioned, and I'm going to hand it over to Reggie again, and he's going to go over that.
Oh yeah, man, that's pretty scary. Talking about that cancer, man. That is scary. Whew. Yeah, it better be 100%. I'm going to be transparent with that because that is something very, very grave in nature itself. But yeah, man, oh man. But yeah, when it comes down to the duty MOS noise exposure list, when you go to these hearing tests, or if you're going for tinnitus, of course, because they go almost hand in hand in a way, depending on your symptoms. This list was developed in 2010. The VA published this actual duty MOS exposure list, right? And based off the MOS, you can also look this up online, do your research if you're a Google scholar. These MOS is based upon the job title and the types of work that you did, can include where, hey, you have more, I guess, a situation where you can be exposed to higher decibels of like I said, situations of possible hearing loss because of the job type, especially those in infantry, combat, man, gunfire, mortar fire, all that stuff. I mean, come on. I mean, literally, you're gonna be on this list, literally, because I mean, that's a lot of sound. Not to mention my comrades, my shipmates out there who's on that flight line, those who are doing the helo squadrons. I mean, those choppers, those jets, jet blast deflectors on those carriers going off. I mean, that's a lot of noise that the ears are taking. And of course, being in, they give you these little earplugs and they give you these muffs. I mean, it's only but so much you can take. And not to mention, if you think about it, if you're sleeping, in a tent or underneath the berthing, right underneath these loud sounds, I mean, you don't have any hearing protection, and right. that can play a huge part. So I'll tell, all my comrades and sisters and brothers out there, before you go to your exam, print this list out, take it with you if you can, or upload as you submit your claim. Because when it comes down to you fighting for yourself, you want to make sure you have as much evidence to back up what you're stating. You want to cover yourself, and not to mention, when you're able to do that, there's a thing called a duty to assist. The VA itself has to do the duty to assist when you have uploaded that based off the MOS. They can see it on your your orders. They can see it when you finish your time in the military. They look it right on that code, like, hey, this person is on that duty MOS noise exposure listing. So now I want to also ask my vets out there, any questions, concerns, definitely put it into the chat. We're here. And, the big thing is that you have to become a student when it comes down to doing any claim, filing. You want to make sure you're doing your homework and getting with a coach or someone that's going to have your back and look out for you. Because here at VACI, we're family, and we're here to look out for our vets. And we want to give you the chance to educate and empower yourself as you're going through the process, as you're submitting your VA claim. And I turn over to my man, Zach here, my brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out. If you're at a point in your VA compensation journey where you're just frustrated and you're not too sure where to turn, if you're not a client of ours already, then drop us a line and see what we can do for you. I think you might be surprised. The process works. I am a product of the process. I became a client after I became a coach, and I was able to get the the claims, the things that I filed for won. And so in the state of Texas, I am seen as a disabled veteran. And the process works. We have a lot of classes that we do. We're very engaging with our veterans on top of phone calls and Zoom calls. We have classes that the veterans able to participate in, classes on CMP prep, stuff like that. We have a women's group that happens every other Wednesday in the month. Once you're a client, we'll send you the calendar link, and you'll be able to see the plethora of classes that we have to offer. A lot of good stuff. The vast majority of our coaches are veterans, so each coach will bring his or her own unique perspective and experiences. And every day, all day, there's always little nuggets of information that are being dropped, and it's extremely valuable for the veteran who wants to get their claim started, or if they're at that 80%, 90% threshold and they're trying to get to 100 so bad. I think you may be surprised what we can do for you.
Absolutely. So appreciate you joining us here today as coaches with VA Claims Insider. Look forward to hearing from you in the comments, the chat, and just thanking you for your service and for checking us out today. Take care. Peace and God bless.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.